It's Charlie O'Connor for PHLY Sports, and I am calling in sort of remotely. I am remote, but I am not on the live show because of potential internet issues due to the Wells Fargo Center arena problems from tonight's game between the Philadelphia Flyers and the Tampa Bay Lightning. So instead, our intrepid host Bill Matz and JP have sent me some questions to answer about the game, and then we are going to splice this into the show. So let me start from the top. First question was from Bill. What's up with Coots on the fourth line? 2 goals in his last 24 games before tonight, 10 assists, -7 in those games. Look, I think what's really going on with Couturier is John Tortorella isn't particularly happy with the way he's playing. He still provides enough that he doesn't want to take him out of the lineup, and plus, he just gave him the C. So I don't think that's really an option either. But I think that Torts just thinks other guys are playing better. He was asked about it after the game tonight, and Torts more or less said that guys know that the guys who are going are going to get more minutes. Coots isn't going right now. I actually thought Couturier had a pretty good game on Sunday. Ended up with 2 assists, had a nice pass on Tyson Forster's goal in the third period. I didn't think he was bad tonight, and I actually don't think he's playing necessarily as poorly as he might seem. If you look at his underlying metrics since the start of February, the Flyers goalies, when he's been on the ice at 5-on-5, I'm going to touch on this in my mailbag that'll probably come out sometime tomorrow, but Coots has only seen 76% of the shots when he's been on the ice get stopped in February. So most likely that will regress in his favor in the next few weeks, and I think it'll seem like Couturier is playing better than he actually is. But that said, I don't think Coots has been playing perfect hockey, and I understand why John Tortorella is feeling like guys like Scott Lawton, who is legitimately hot right now. Morgan Frost, his line's performing very well. He's loving the Ryan Poehling line. I think Couturier's line is just kind of losing minutes as a result of how well he feels like those lines are playing. So, answer to that one. Next question. What do you make of Bobby Brink in his first game back? Well, he certainly made a good first impression. Early impression, gets that big goal. We'll talk about this a little bit later, but did not think Andrei Vasilevsky had the best effort on that goal. He just kind of missed it. I think it was a stoppable shot, but I love the confidence that Bobby Brink showed on that shift. He's right back in the NHL trying to make an impression. It's exactly what they want him to do, and he did it. And he scores a huge goal that kind of sets the tone for the game. It gave the Flyers a lead before things got crazy with the arena and the lights and everything, and that certainly was a benefit to the Flyers. And they just want to see that from Brink. However, it was funny. After the game, John Tortorella was asked about Bobby Brink's performance, and, well, Torts acknowledged, obviously, the goal was important. The play he pointed out was one that I don't even remember from the third period, where Brink had turned the puck over and then back-checked through the middle of the ice, got the puck back, and then dumped it in. He said, look, I know Bobby Brink can score. I know the puck follows him around, but it's those plays that are going to decide just how much trust I give him. Those are the kind of habits that I want to see him have. So he was enthused about that play. I would say Torts came away generally satisfied with Brink's performance, but maybe not for the reason you think. Maybe it's because he saw him do a few of those little things that maybe were the reason why he got demoted in the first place. Next question. The Brink-Farabee-Frost line, best line tonight? John Tortorella might disagree. He, again, was highly praising the Ryan Poehling line with Garnet Hathaway and Noah Cates. Cates obviously had a good point night. Thought they were productive pretty much the whole way through, though. But look, the Frost line got the first 2 goals. You had Brink get one. Then you have, who had the second goal? It was Forster. Forster had the second goal. But yeah, Frost was the one who set up the pass. Then he goes off the ice. Forster puts it in. So that line had a bit of touch on both of those initial goals. Look, especially with Couturier's line struggling, and now he's being saddled with Nick Delorier and Oli Luxell, the Frost line is the one that has the most offensive firepower. He likes the Ryan Poehling line, but it is a checking line. It is what it is. The Lawton line, look, I like Scott Lawton a lot. He's been hot. However, he's Scott Lawton. He's not an elite scorer. This is going to be their line with firepower as long as it's together, as long as Travis Konecny is out of the lineup. And they did their job. They scored goals. Next question. How about that empty net strategy midway through the third by the Tampa Bay Lightning? Look, I think what this really boils down to, I think it's less about the Flyers, more about Tampa. John Cooper, Tampa's head coach, he trusts his elite guys not to lose control of the puck when he entrusts them with an empty net to protect. these are great possession players. Nikita Kucherov, Braden Point, Steven Stamkos, Victor Hedman. These are guys who know how to control a puck, who know how to play keep away when they're a man up in the offensive zone. There's a reason why their power play is so good. And I think he just trusted that he didn't have to worry about them turning the puck over 30 seconds after he pulled the goalie. They were down 4-1. They needed to gain some momentum and have a shot at this game. And honestly, he was proven right. Took the Flyers 4+ minutes to score on the empty net, and in that time, Tampa did score a goal. They made it at least a little interesting before the Flyers fully put the game on ice. I don't think this really had anything to do with him disrespecting the Flyers. I think it was more just knowing what he has in his players and taking full advantage of the fact that Tampa has those stars that a team like the Flyers doesn't necessarily have, especially with Travis Konecny out of the lineup. Next question. Travis Sanheim, 4 goals in his last 6 games, 8 points in his last 8. Is this a return to form or just a scoring spree? I still don't love that Sanheim-York pairing. I don't think that it's the long-term solution. I don't love it. I don't love it as like something as a set and forget second pair for the next 5-6 years. But I do really like Travis Sanheim on the right side more than I like him bouncing back and forth between the left and the right, which is what he had been doing when he was struggling. I think now they've more committed to him being exclusively on the right, which is where I think he plays his best hockey, and I think that's been a big part of this recent surge. He just looks more confident. He looks more like the guy from October, November, and the early part of December than over the last couple months. And he's getting some puck luck, too. It's not all like he picked up an assist on the Cam York empty net goal. Those are the kind of points that he just wasn't picking up in January and the early part of February. So it's a little bit of, I think, being more comfortable on the right side, getting to play there more exclusively, playing just plain old better hockey, and then also getting some luck around the way. Next question. Experience from the press box with no power on. Well, there was some power on, but I will say that our side of the arena got hit the worst with the lights. It was our side that pretty much was completely lights out. Obviously, it's a big arena. It wasn't dark. It wasn't scary or anything. But all the lights above us were out. All of our outlets weren't working. This was the entirety of the first period. The TVs weren't on because we usually can look up at the TVs in between plays to rewatch the broadcast feed. That was not an option the entire game. Look, it wasn't the best. It was a weird situation, and I'll have more in my article on the game talking about the details of the weirdness. But, yeah, it was odd. It was just, generally speaking, odd. Next question. Was the Flyers' offense that good tonight, or was Vasilevsky having an off night? Yes, a little bit of both. I would say the Flyers in the first 2 periods weren't that good. Brink had a good goal, but for the most part, there just wasn't a lot being created. I didn't even think Brink's goal was that impressive. I thought it was more a case of Vasilevsky kind of misplaying a shot that peak Vasilevsky pretty easily stops. The third period, though, yeah, that Forrester goal, peak Vasilevsky definitely stops. But the Flyers poured it on in the third. I thought offensively in the third period, the Flyers played very well. Maybe they don't score because obviously you get a couple empty netters. Maybe they don't score 3 goals if Vasilevsky's rolling, but I think they scored 2. I think they were fired on all cylinders. They got it back going. And I think even if Vasilevsky was playing very well, they would have scored a couple. So, yes, they benefited from Vasilevsky not playing like himself. That said, I mean, he has a sub-900 save percentage this year. There's been a lot of games this year he hasn't played like himself. I think they benefited from that. However, I do think that in the third period they got the offense rolling, and that was great to see. Next question. The updates on injuries. So, no new updates on Jamie Drysdale and Rasmus Ristolainen really since my post-practice updates videos, so I will guide you to watch that. If you want to hear particularly about Drysdale, who I had the details on, in addition to words from his buddy Cam York speaking to the fact that doesn't look like it's as serious as feared. Ristolainen is still week to week, pretty much the same as what he was before today's injury update. TK, though, is interesting because John Tortorella did open up a little bit about Travis Konecny after the game, and he kind of implied that he wasn't sure when TK would be back. Now, the Flyers in their injury update today did say that he was still day-to-day. John Tortorella didn't necessarily speak about TK as if he was day-to-day. He spoke as if he wasn't sure when Travis Konecny was going to be back. So a little concerning that the head coach was speaking as if, hey, we might need to pick up the slack for a bit because we don't know when TK is going to be back. It doesn't sound like it's a foregone conclusion that he's going to be back for these weekend games, and that could be trouble for the Flyers. However, Washington, while they are in the playoff mix, not that great of a team. Ottawa, really not that great of a team. The schedule doesn't really turn tough again until you start that Florida trip right around the deadline. That's when you're going to need Travis Konechny back. So we'll see. Maybe they're giving him a little bit of extra time, but I don't necessarily think, based on John Tortorella's words after the game tonight, that it's a guarantee that Travis Konechny will be in the lineup on Friday in Washington against the Capitals. And now we're done the questions. On to 3 stars. Third star of the game, I'm going to go a little bit off board. I don't think this guy was one of the 3 stars in the Wells Fargo Center tonight, but he's mine. I'm going to go with Sam Ersson. Yeah, his stats don't look great, but this was a weird game for a goalie. You have the shadows being weird, the lights change not even midway through the game, 7 minutes into the first period. This was, in a lot of ways, similar to an outdoor game in terms of being very weird on a goalie. John Tortorella specifically said when we asked him that when the officials came to the coaches to see if they wanted to keep playing, Tortorella and Cooper asked their goalies, hey, can you do this? The goalies said, yeah. But it speaks to the fact that they were the ones that were dealing with the most difficulty in an environment like this. I thought Ersson did what he didn't do in the outdoor game, which was not let it get to him. Was he perfect? No, he wasn't perfect. But in a weird game, I'm just looking for the goalie to be fine. And Ersson was fine. He did his job. Flyers get the win. He did his job in a way that Andrei Vasilevsky didn't. And Andrei Vasilevsky's a future Hall of Famer, so that's pretty cool for the Flyers that Ersson outdueled Vasilevsky in a strange, unique environment. Second star, going to go with Tyson Foerster. He has the big goal. Not the game winner because Tampa does score one later, but technically the game winner. It's the one that put the Flyers on the path to winning this game, breaks the tie early in the third period. Look, Forrester's just rolling right now. 4 goals in his last 3 games. He looks like a confident player, the moves he's making with the puck. He just looks different. He was always a two-way force pretty much from the start this year. His underlying numbers are fantastic. The offensive confidence wasn't there. It looks like it's there now. Should Vasilevsky made that stop? Yes, and that's why I don't put Tyson Foerster as my first star. But I love the confidence that Foerster showed to make that move and try to beat Vasilevsky with the move that you have to really have faith that you can pull off against a great goalie. So props to Tyson Foerster on that one. My first star, Travis Sanheim. Gets a goal, gets a cheap assist. He actually does get the game winner once Tampa scores that second goal late. But what I liked about Sanheim is I just thought he played a really strong game against a really tough team. Leads the team in minutes, nearly 24 minutes of ice time, gets a ton of minutes against their top players, and just holds down the fort. This was early season Travis Sanheim, activating, making plays, shutting things down in the middle of the ice, not making mistakes with or without the puck. I really like Travis Sanheim's game. I've really liked Travis Sanheim's game for the last few games. And the Flyers are going to need him. They're going to need their workhorse defenseman to be the guy who he was in October, November, if they want to make this playoff push. And that will do it for my segment here, my impromptu weird segment, because it was an impromptu weird game for the Philadelphia Flyers and Tampa Bay Lightning. But the Flyers come away with the 6-2 win. Thanks so much, everybody, for watching.
We all silly like the mayor.